Matt Dunn grabbed just the second 5-wicket haul of his career on the penultimate day of the LV County Championship clash between Surrey and Essex at the Kier Oval. But with more bad weather about, it seems unlikely that either side will be able to force a result on the final day. Essex began the third morning on 225 for 6 in their first innings after only 78 overs had been delivered on the first 2 days, and after another hour's loss to the weather, they looked to extend that total. Graham Napier struck that early boundary, while his partner James Foster was given a life by being dropped by Gary Wilson at slip off the bowling of Stuart Meeker. Foster was unable to make the most of that let-off though. He'd advanced from his overnight 19 to 20 when he nicked Meeker in the same over, but was this time held by Jason Roy. A couple of years back, Napier smashed Surrey for a record-breaking 196 when he moved to that score from his 100 in only 28 balls. He hit a world record 16 sixes in that knock, and although he was, of course, unable to match that here, he still struck the ball nicely as he went after Jay Dernbach. He didn't always connect, especially when using one hand to try to drive over the top, but for the most part he did connect well as the runs started to come at a good lick. This though was in innings when the top score was only 49, in spite of 10 of the 11 batsmen getting into double figures. David Masters also batted freely as he and Napier added 43 runs for the 9th wicket in 9 overs. Masters had made 23 of those when he drove on the up to Chris Tremlett and planted the ball straight into the hands of Dunn. Dunn then bagged his 4th wicket of the innings in the next over by having Napier comfortably caught by Graham Smith at first slip, a wicket which left Essex on 279 for 9. The last pair of Timal Mills and Monty Panesar then stuck around for long enough to get their side beyond 300 for a third batting bonus point. The two, neither of whom are known for their great batting talents, played some delightful shots and some poor ones as they added 27 runs for the last wicket. Panesar then drove Dunn to Meeker on 17 to give the bowler his first 5-wicket haul since he bagged figures of 5 for 56 against Derbyshire back in 2011, although he has only played a handful of games since then. He ended here with 5 for 60, analysis he certainly deserved. So Essex had finally been dismissed for 306, and Surrey now needed to ensure that they weren't blown away again in a hurry, as had happened to them in their last match against Glamorgan at this very ground. Smith nearly ran himself out early. From there though, he made sure that his side got off to an encouraging start as he found the boundary on a number of occasions. Not all were right off the middle of his bat, but once settled in, he began to find his form which made him one of the most respected cricketers of the modern generation. He and Rory Burns were going along nicely enough as they opened up with a stand of 46. It took an extraordinary bit of fielding from Ravi Bopara to break that partnership. How he managed to hit the stumps with such a powerful flick of the wrists after following through, only he will know. It was certainly worth seeing a second time. Great stuff indeed. Burns was out for 16, and that left it to Smith and Dominic Sibley to battle hard to keep Essex on an even keel. They knew that if they could have grabbed some early wickets, then there was still time for them to try to win this game. Surrey, on the other hand, knew that they couldn't afford for that to happen, and these two showed a good technique and temperament as they went about their business. Smith didn't want to let Panesar settle, and so he used his crease well against the spinner. This for the South Africans' 8th meant that he became the first man of this match to get to the 50 mark. What's more, he'd needed only 66 balls to get there. He was batting with intent. At times he was playing one-day type shots as he showed his class against all of the bowlers, moving on to 65 out of his side's score of 123. So it came as something of a surprise when he then angled a shot off Masters to Jake Mickleborough. Smith could hardly believe what he'd done. The Surrey innings began to resemble the one of Essex, with batsmen having few problems in getting themselves in. The problem remained sticking it out for any length of time, with Bopara the only man who'd lasted at the crease for more than 3 hours. Wilson and Sibley were the latest to get a partnership going, but the visitors probably felt that a wicket was never far away, and after these two had added 34 for the 3rd wicket, those successes with the ball began to come. In fact, Surrey lost 3 men for 9 runs in 4 overs. Having made it to 34, Sibley failed to keep a ball from Mills down, and Mickleborough claimed the catch, which was eventually given. Wilson then gifted Panesar a wicket by drilling this ball to Napier at mid-on to go for 18, after Foster had kept the players on the pitch in the diminishing light by using his spinners. Stephen Davis then became just the second man in this match to depart for fewer than 10 runs when he turned a sharp ball from Mills into the hands of Ben Foakes under the helmet once that the light had improved. Surrey had now slipped to 165 for 5 and the remainder of their lineup had work to do. With Zafar Ansari unable to bat after suffering a concussion on Monday, it was left to Roy to go on the attack against Panesar. Roy did live a little dangerously, however. He drilled a shot back to the bowler, Panesar, who couldn't hold on, while he also just managed to evade short leg when he was in a less aggressive mood. It was all beginning to happen. Roy and Mika added 21 for the 6th wicket, but the latter then missed the shortest ball from Panesar and was bowled for 14. Roy then showed his former partner how to play if Panesar dropped in too short. This was his second 6. And he was still there at the close on 30, made out of his side's 217 for 6, which leaves Surrey still trailing by 89 runs. Anything other than the draw now looks unlikely on the final day.